Happy Saturday. Happy end of the work week. And happy summer. Welcome to my live. And if you happen to be watching later, welcome to the replay. My name is Robin, and I'm with Robin's Egg Blue Creations, and I'm also an independent designer with Couture. Once you hop on this morning or on the replay, say hi in the comments and tell me where you're watching from. I am in central Kansas, and it is going to be a hot and humid weekend. It's been raining for like 2 weeks, and it's supposed to hit the hundreds for the first time this weekend, and I'm just going to hunker down in my craft room and stay cool. Again, say hi in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from. I also want to let you know I'm using an online platform called StreamYard to broadcast in 3 locations this morning. So I'm live in my Facebook group, I'm live on my business page, and I'm also live on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, go on, once you hop on over there after the live, and you can subscribe and turn on any notifications. That would be fantastic. I tell you that I'm live in 3 locations so that if you hear me refer to a comment that you don't see in your comment feed, that viewer may be watching and commenting from a different platform. Also, if you're watching from my private Facebook group, if you wouldn't mind giving StreamYard access to your profile name and pic by clicking the permission link in the description of the video, I would highly appreciate it. That way you show up under your name in my comments and not Facebook user. That way I know who to say hi to. Speaking of saying hi, I see that Jason is watching from the other side of the door, so welcome. Again, as you hop on this morning, say hi. If you happen to be watching later, hit hashtag replay or type in hashtag replay so I can say hi to you later. Spread the chalk love, hit those heart and like buttons, and do all of that so you can help me grow on social media. So thank you. With that, I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera. So this morning, we're going to be working with the wood. You spy Luna Lovegood. Yeah, I think I put her. Yep, I put her behind me. She was falling at the end of my desk, so I put her behind me. She's kind of my spirit animal. So this morning, we're going to be working with the jar wood cutouts. This size A, Enjoy the Little Things. This will be our main transfer. We'll also be using the jar, what are these called? The single jar cutouts. And then I also just brought this along because this transfer is called Jar Cutouts Bloom. If you're working with any of the jar cutouts, go ahead and grab this. I put it in the cart link. This one is in the last chance, so once it is sold out, it will not be restocked. So if you really like the jar cutouts, go ahead and snag this transfer as well. Like I did mention the cart link, I have all of the supplies linked, well, all of the Chalk Couture supplies linked in the cart link in the description of the video. Like always, if you already have some of the paste colors that I'm using, you can always delete those. If you see something you want to add, you can always add that to the cart. No worries there. So I'm going to create kind of you remember how if you were kids and you were around lightning bugs, you used to collect lightning bugs and maybe put them in a jar. So that's kind of what we're going to recreate. This little Enjoy the Little Things happens to have 3 little lightning bugs on it. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to use Ocean Mist to kind of create the look of a blue-ish mason jar or bell jar. And then I also pulled out Shimmer Silver, Shimmer Shadow, and Shimmer Harvest. So those will be our background colors. And then I'm also going to add a little tiny treat to our jar at the end of the video. So make sure you're watching for that. I'm just going to grab something to put my little color tray on because I always manage to make a mess. So I'm going to water down my Ocean Mist just a little bit. With the newer colors, don't need watered down as much. But I'm just gonna take a little bit out with a stir stick. I'm gonna put it in, I might grab a little more, in my little color tray, but you can use any inexpensive little palette. You can just use a paper plate. Oh my goodness, sorry. So I'm just gonna spray it down with a little bit of distilled water. If you plan on returning any excess to your jar, I would highly recommend distilled water. Otherwise, you can just use any kind of water. But I plan to return it if I have any excess. So to make sure I don't contaminate my main paste jar, I'm using distilled water. So I'm just going to thin that down a bit. And then I'm just going to use, this one is not the Artist Tool Set paintbrush, but no, it isn't. This one is the Artist Tool Set paintbrush. So this is one of the brushes from our Artist Tool Set. Again, you can use any paintbrush you would like, but you can always add these to your cart. I did not add it to the cart link, but you could add it, and then you could hit that $65 or $80 threshold to get the Creative Kickstart transfers for free. And if you want any more information about those Kickstart transfers, either stay tuned to the end of the video, or you can put Kickstart in the comments and I will send you some information. So I'm just trying to make this look like it's one of those blue tinted glass jars. The nice thing about watering down the chalk paste is that, one, you already have it on hand, and two, it dries super quick. So I'm going to go ahead and dry this and see what it looks like. Jason says it would look really good with the edges sanded. That's exactly what I was thinking. Mainly because I see where I went over the side a little bit, and that will help get that off. I am going to add one more coat. Before I do, I got a little bit on the edge, so I just want to get that off before, oops. And you can just take a wet wipe and wipe that off. Drop my wet wipes on the floor. Okay, so I'm just going to I'm going to water it down just a skosh, just a tiny bit, because as it was sitting there, it kind of, it was starting to dry up. If you're worried about going off the edges, go toward the edges, because if you paint to the edges, that's when you your paint brushes and paint bristles tend to go over the edge. Handy little trick I've picked up from some of my door hanger painter friends. And then to avoid brush strokes, you can always use longer strokes. But if you're going to sand the edges like I am, you don't necessarily need to totally fuss about those. Okay, let's put that away. Let's give this a good dry. So I'm curious, where you're from, do you call these fireflies or lightning bugs or anything else? I believe in the Midwest we tend to call them lightning bugs. Jason says lightning bugs. He grew up in Oklahoma. Okay, I believe that is dry. I'm gonna just quickly wash my paintbrush out just to get some of that chalk paste out so it doesn't completely dry in there. And I'll put that to the side. Okay, the next thing we are going to do is I'm gonna wax, because this particular transfer has a lot of sticky area. It could pull up my paint, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to use the Couture Surface Wax. It is currently out of stock right now, so if you don't have it and happen to have some finishing wax, you can use that as well. I've even used the inexpensive paint on wax from Folk Art, and that worked just as well. Just want to be careful with any brush on stuff because it will reconstitute your paste and it may smear. So I just have a little bit of wax on my wax applicator, but you can also use a t-shirt or an old rag. And I'm just going, excuse me, just going to kind of rub it on all over the painted area. This will also help fill in any of the ridges or nooks and crannies that I can't see where my paste may bleed. It will also help my transfer from sticking so hard that it pulls up any paint fibers. So I'm just going to take the microfiber side of my wax applicator, and that is the side with the tag, and I'm just going to burnish where I waxed. Make it all nice and shiny and smooth. Kind of buffs it in, buffs it off, get off any excess. My apologies for being kind of froggy this morning. I swallowed my vitamin wrong this morning and it's kind of choked me up. Okie doke, we are done with that. It does not take a lot of wax. So we are going to use this transfer first. If you haven't ever seen these transfers, they are silkscreen, reusable, sticky back transfers. So they are sticky on the back side. They are reusable about 8 to 12 times depending on how well you take care of them. And because they are reusable, I want to make sure I note what the back side of the carrier sheet is. So this is this would be like the glass jar outline, and this would be like the full glass jar. And I'm writing on the back because that way when I'm done cleaning the transfer, I know that this is the back side of the carrier sheet and that I need to put the transfer back on this side. You'll also note that there's a little white line here. That is a suggested cut line. But for right now, I like to keep my backer sheets intact or in one piece until I know how I'm going to store them. And I store them based on the size of surface that they fit on. So for right now, I'm just going to score down that line. So I'm peeling back the transfer and I'm just placing my scissors on that line, and I'm literally going to score the transfer apart so that my backer sheet stays in one piece. Okie doke. So we're going to use just the outline today. So I'm going to set this aside. And because this is a new transfer and I'm also putting it on painted wood, I'm just going to fuzz the back side, which means I'm just placing it on a terry cloth towel, or you can even use your shirt or your pants. And I'm just adding literally a layer of lint to the back side to kind of cut back on the amount of adhesive. That way it doesn't stick so hard that it either pulls or stretches the transfer or pulls any wood fibers off of my jar. I can kind of see through this teal part, so I can see the outline of the jar, but I also am going to hold it up to the light. And that actually looks really good. So I'm just going to burnish where the silkscreen material is, and that is where you can see the clear or white areas. I don't want to burnish so much in here that it sticks to my paint. So I'm not terribly worried with the inside on this particular transfer. Okay, so now we're going to bring it in our shimmer silver. And if you love glitter but you hate loose glitter and how it gets everywhere, this is perfect because it keeps all of that shimmer intact and it does not get all over the place. So I just have my multi-tool, which is a small squeegee, and I just have some on the tip, and I'm just going to run it around the silkscreen material. And this multi-tool is a lot like a pencil. It's very sturdy on the inside, in the middle, so it doesn't bend a lot, but the end where the squeegee is somewhat flexible. It's very easy to keep control with the multi-tool, and it's easy to get in these little smaller spaces. So I'm just pulling all of that paste around the silkscreen area. Oops. Kind of went overboard a bit. So I'm just going to grab that so that I can use it. So now I'm just kind of going around to even out all of my little squeegee lines that I might have. And I'm just going to put any excess back in the jar. So then we'll just peel it and reveal it. And this is my favorite part. I'm just going to stick that over there. We'll give it a dry, and then I'll hold it up for you to see. And the shimmer paste do take a little bit longer to dry. So just keep that in mind when you're using them. Don't get impatient like I do and stick your finger in the wet paste. Give it another round. see if it's. I believe that's dry. Okay, so here is what it looks like. Just a subtle little bit of shimmer. So it kind of gives you the look of the lid and then just kind of an outline of the jar. And so now we'll bring our fuzz towel back in. And this one is a size A transfer. It's Enjoy the Little Things. And the size A's are $9.99. The size B that the jar came on is $14.99. Excuse me. So I'm just fuzzing it because I'm putting it on a painted surface and there's already paste down, so I don't want it to peel where I have my paste. So I'm going to make sure it's super duper fuzzed. Maybe one more time. I'm just going to lay this on my jar. And I'm going to kind of line the edge of the transfer up with the edge of the jar, making sure I have an equal amount of space. And as I move it, I'm also going to do the same with the sides because this fits perfectly. This is a 5x8 jar, so roughly from neck to the bottom of the jar is 5x7. So these size A transfers fit perfectly on the wood cutouts. So I'm just burnishing where there's silkscreen, trying to avoid the outside where my jar outline is and this the neck of the jar. And in fact, I'm just going to put a backer sheet there, and that'll help protect some of that paste that's on the neck of the jar. Okie doke. So now let's bring in Shimmer Harvest and Shimmer Shadow. Okie doke. So I think I'm going to try using, I have a detail tool here which has a really tiny, in fact I may get another one. Sorry, my chair squeaks. So I'm going to try to do the little light bulb end on the Firefly in Harvest, and I'm going to try to do the upper body in Shimmer Shadow, and then I'm going to do all these little accents probably in Shimmer Harvest. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to use the paste that's on this little foil thing, but I think I want to do the Harvest first. I've learned the hard way to try to do black last, because if you put black down and then start putting colors down, your colors will invariably run with and make the black run. Okay, that's not going to work. So I'm going to try to do these little light bulbs, the little light bulb bodies. Again, this tool also works very similar to a pencil. And also, if I go over into the black areas with the Harvest, my black will cover it up. So that's kind of why I use black last. And I'm also probably going to do like the paste and pull method, where I'm going to do these bugs, and then I can't talk. And then I'm going to release the transfer and the paste in that area. That way my paste does not dry in the silk screen. because once it dries in the silk screen and I pull it up, the transfer will pull the paste up with it. And that would be no bueno. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and do all these little, oh, I just stuck my hand in it. These little art marks. We'll just kind of pretend they're like reflections from the lightning bugs. They're like reflections on the jar, little sparkles. And then just try to remove your excess. Okay, so without pulling up the entire transfer, I'm just going to release portions. I should have probably done the black areas of the bugs before I did this, but we'll figure it out. And then I'm just going to carefully burnish where the bug bodies are so that we can go back in with black, with the shimmer shadow, and do their bodies. And their little antenna. How you guys doing out there? Okay. So let's wash that off, and then we'll come in with, we'll bring this multi-tool back in, and we'll do the text. So I'm just going to pick up a bit more of the shimmer shadow, burnish all this down because I did pull some of it up when I pulled up the lightning bugs. Just want to make sure it's good and burnished. Luckily, this shimmers take longer to dry, so I have a little bit more work time. So I think I'll be okay with the bugs. But I still don't want to dilly-dally. So I'm going to go ahead and release this bug. Be free, little bug. Be free. And then let's get this bug. You got, if there was only sparkle vision, oh my goodness. This shimmer shadow is so sparkly. I think they've been adding more sparkles to the shimmer because it's been a lot more shiny and sparkly the last couple of new jars I've gotten in. I think I'm going to go back. Oops. I probably messed it up, but we'll see. Jason said this is a really neat idea. Well, again, I can't take credit for it. Okay, so I'm just going to put that in the water. The other transfers just hanging out. Let's put these lids on. And then before we get to the embellishing part, I want to show you how super easy it is to clean the transfers. Let's put all all this away. Put it over there so I don't end up wearing it. Okay, so here's what we have, and I'm just going to let it hang out and dry over here a little bit. You see all that shimmer? So let's just let that hang out there. After I was done with this last transfer, I just popped it in the water. So all you need to clean the transfers is a water source, whether that be a tub, a sink, or just a spray bottle of water. I like to just use a little tub of water. That way I can get to my transfers almost as soon as I'm done with them. They're a little easier to clean that way. They don't stain as much, but the staining doesn't hurt them at all as long as you get the silk screen clean. So I'm just using one of our board erasers and then washing. I know my water's already dirty, but it's probably because I didn't clean up my board eraser the last time I used it. But I'm just wiping the front and the back. You will also notice if you use Shimmer Paste that they do leave a little bit of sparkle behind, but it doesn't go anywhere. It's not like you'll end up with glitter all over the place. And so I'm also going to take a disinfecting wipe to the back side, and that helps get off some of that fuzz that we put on earlier. It kind of brings back the sticky a little bit. So you can leave these air dry, sticky side up for 10-15 minutes and they should be dry. But because I have a tendency to forget about them drying and leaving them out for a week, I just stick them right back on their backer sheet and let them continue to dry that way. So here's our jar. I just had it hanging out beside me. I'm just going to kind of scrub it face down or paste it down on my tub just to kind of help loosen up some of that paste because it's been sitting there drying on my transfer. Now I'm just going to take my board eraser, oops, as I splatter water everywhere. And I'm going to flip it over. Super easy. A couple minutes cleanup, and you're all done. I'm just going to give it another good wipe down, mainly because I couldn't see it in that dirty water very well. Flip it over. Use my disinfecting wipe to get off a lot of that lint. And then put it back down on its backer sheet. I do think it's easier to place these on the backer sheet when they're slightly damp. So that's another added benefit. So again, it's just going to hang out over there while it dries. And when it's dry, I will put it back in its storage binder. I'm going to dry my hands. Okay, so let's bring back our jar. I'm going to give it a good dry. Make sure that shimmer is all dry. here is our jar so far. So I'll probably use twine, but I also have this yarn, but I think it might be a bit too bulky. So I have this twine, and we're just going to wrap it around the neck of the jar. And then I also have these are actually cork lights. They're for a wine bottle. So this fits in the neck of the jar. But I have so many of these, and I just thought I was going to steal some from one of my wine bottles that I made. I'm just going to hide it probably on the back side. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape, just gently tape, maybe. I'm just going to tape this down to the back of the bottle, mainly just to hold it while I'm wrapping my twine around the neck of my bottle. So I'm just going to leave that hanging out there. So I just have some thin twine, and I'm going to put this, maybe a little, I have an idea. So they came rolled up like this. So let's just, oops, sorry. Let's just coil it back up so it's kind of out of the way. It's just going to kind of hang right there. So that way I can twist my twine around the neck of the bottle without it getting in too much of the way. Easier said than done. Put that over there. There. Bingo. Okay, so let's just cut that off. Oh. And then I'm gonna pull that tight. I probably got too much. And I'm just gonna tie a bow to the side, or tie a knot to the side. And then let's pull this around because I want to try to incorporate it into my bow. So now let's uncoil it. And actually, I'm going to untape it. So now it's securely in my twine. I'm just going to move it over to the side a little bit because that way I don't waste this light, so I can get all the lights in there that I can. Okay, so this worked in my head. So I'm just going to make one of my loopy bows, but I don't want it too big. And then I'm going to try to add these lights as I go. So I'm going to add a few more loops of twine. And then let's add a few more lights. These are just on a really thin wire, so they're easy to loop back and forth. And then you can kind of reshape them as you go or after you're done. Okay, so let's add a few more bits of twine. Ooh. Let's see. I need to add one more bow. And then we will cut that off without cutting the lights. And then let's add in. So I'm just going to add that onto my knot that I already tied. Try to tie it pretty tight. And then you can just kind of spread all of your loops. You can reshape the wire. Kind of move those lights around. Okay. And then I'm going to tie little knots at the end. Jason says, that's freaking adorable. Great job. Thank you. The jar idea was not mine, but the idea of adding little lights was mine. If you're local to me and you would like to try this idea yourself, I do have some more of these cork bottle lights. If I had to redo it again, though, I do know that Amazon has little fairy light strings that have a little tiny flat disc that's the on and off button. So those would work really well too if you didn't want this little cork thingy hanging in the back. But I think that's super cute. Oh my goodness. I think I'm going to have to make about a bajillion more of those. Let me turn my front camera on and I can show you. I don't know how well you can see that. Super cute. Love it. And so then you can just kind of keep reshaping your bow because the lights are made of wire. And then the cork just kind of hangs out on the back. Again, I'd probably get some of those lights off of Amazon, but if you're local to me or if you'd like for me to ship you some of these cork lights, I have quite a few on hand. I'd be more than happy to. You can't see it on the front as well as you can the back. Plus, these have been used, so these lights probably aren't as bright as they could be. So I probably need to change the battery. Okay, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. I just want to remind you about the Club Couture transfer this month, Live in the Sunshine. It comes with 3 paste singles, Couture Teal, Guava, and Shimmer Harvest, which is one of the colors we use today. This is an exclusive transfer. The only way to get it is to be a designer or a Club Couture member. This DIY subscription kit is mailed to your mailbox once a month for $19.99 a month. There is a 3-month minimum commitment to sign up, but you can cancel at any time after that. Also, as a Club Couture member, you do get $5.99 flat rate shipping in the US on any additional chalk site order. So that is a heck of a deal. It did go up like $1.04, but that's still a heck of a deal for shipping. Excuse me, I had to take a drink. Also, June is Creative Kickstart month. So there are 2 Creative Kickstart transfers available and a coordinating palette pack. They are available at retail price, $14.99 for each of the transfers or $13.99 for the palette pack, but you can earn the transfers for free. So if you're wanting the palette pack, add some more product to your cart, or you can add I think the cart link that I added today is about $60. So add that palette pack to the cart and you can get the Explore, Dream, Discover transfer for free by spending $65. If you spend $80, then you can earn both transfers for free. So heck of a deal. That butterfly and dragonfly and bumblebee are speaking my language. The beetle, not so much, but we'll figure out how to use it. Also, along with Creative Kickstart, there is a Creative Kickstart designer kit. So if you have ever considered joining Chalk Couture, this is the month to do it. The Creative Kickstart designer kit for the month is $59. It's normally $99. But you get this limited edition, limited quantity Creative Kickstart designer kit for $59 during this month only and while supplies last. So if you'd like to get the product for wholesale cost to make finished goods to sell, being a designer is a great way to do that. If you want the products at a deep discount just to be a hobbyist, you can do that. If you want the products at wholesale to host classes, there's lots of ways to be a designer. You don't necessarily have to build a team or build a business the typical direct sell way. There's lots of ideas and ways to do that. So if you want any information, put kit in the comments and I will get back to you on that. With that, I'm going to be done for the day. Less than an hour, so kudos to me. Woohoo! But thanks for hanging out with me. I'll be live again on Monday at 7:15 p.m. Central Time. I hope you have a great weekend and a great time just hanging out and doing whatever pleases you. Thanks for watching today. I will see you next week and have a great weekend. Thanks for watching.